Tonight, we have a special guest with us, Mr. Mike Sneed, who is here to talk about. Um, First of all, he's into appliance repair, so I'm hoping that he'll talk about that for a few moments. But he has a fascinating story with regards to starting an investment club with his friends. And again, I discovered him on Kamari Ellis's channel. He has a wonderful story and we're going to talk about it with him today. Again, if you're an investment club of one, meaning that your family and friends aren't interested, don't worry about that. But this is like some of the things that he'll talk about tonight is how he had to talk to his friends for a long time before they agreed to start up with him. So, Mike, welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? I know you're in North Carolina, right?
Yes, I'm currently I live in Clayton, North Carolina, but I have my actual appliance boot camp where I'm at right now. My school where I teach entrepreneurship in Selma, North Carolina, and I have a ice cream parlor, old fashioned ice cream, next door. I bought two buildings and put two businesses in them. Both of those in Selma, North Carolina. I've been doing entrepreneurship for over 20 years now. And about maybe 12 years ago, I started an investment group with a group of my friends. The
Very
name of
cool.
our investment group is P1322. We chose P1322 from Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaving an inheritance for his children's children. And our investment group, it wasn't so much for us to make a lot of money, but for us to actually figure out how other groups were doing it so that our kids and grandkids would actually benefit from it.
Yeah. You know, w- we always talk about generational wealth within the Black community. And why do you think it's so hard, for us to actually like build wealth and sustain it generationally? What are some of your thoughts?
I was thinking about that earlier today. I had a meeting with a company, and on that and at the meeting we were talking about plan development that they're putting in. And this plan development, they started it back in 2007, and they're just starting to get it up and going. And I was talking to them about it. All they done went through like 100 changes through it, but they're constantly going along. And I was wondering why is it that we can't do it? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact um, our incomes and stuff are not that stable over that period of time where they can constantly keep putting money in, putting money in, putting money in, and don't have to look for that money to actually turn and next week to actually benefit them. They're actually looking long term because these guys are in their 70s and they got about 10, 15 more years. They probably won't see it completed, but they're able to look past them getting the money from it and stuff and look at it with their grandkids. And so with us, we don't have that. It's hard for us to see that long term vision of I'm going to be working on something for 20 or 30 years. Now, I'm not going to get an instant gratification for it, and now I got to have it for my kids and grandkids. And that was one of the things that was so hard when I was trying to get friends and family to start doing investments and start looking towards the future, where they were thinking, when I'm going to get my money back. And I said, we might not. It got to be for the kids. And unfortunately, a lot of times we like to say, well, I got mine. They need to get their own, and we don't pass anything down. But luckily, I was able to get them started, and we got going. Is it okay to tell how we got started?
Yeah, I actually want you to go through your entire story. So please.
Okay, okay. Well, I had two business partners. I had this guy. They're from India, and I have an appliance repair business, and I used to go to his house and repair his appliances at his house. So I thought he just a regular guy. I'm just going to his house repairing his appliances. But I would go there, and he had maybe one or two rental properties that I knew of at that time that I would go. So I'm just thinking, okay, just a regular one of my customers. So one time I'm at his house, and he's asking me about this Sears store. This they had that Sears had started opening these little small hometown stores, and this was a Sears hometown. And my friend owned the Sears hometown stores, and he asked me about the Sears store, and I told him, I said, yeah, I say Bradley's going to sell it, and he asked me, he said, I'm interested in buying it. We was like, okay. He said, can you introduce me to Bradley? I was like, okay. So I introduced the two. Anyway, he was going to buy it, and they had just, I didn't know any of this. He was going to buy the store, and he was going to move the store over probably about 3 miles up the road to a shopping center they had just purchased. It was a Walmart shopping center. They had went bankrupt, and they had just bought it up, and they was having to put all these businesses and all these little art parcels out there. So him and Bradley couldn't come to an agreement. So he called me up after him and Bradley didn't go through, asked me could I meet him up there at Walmart. And I was like, okay, fine. So I go to Walmart, and he told me the building, so I go there. And so he said, hey, I couldn't get a deal with Bradley, but we need to put I need to put a business in here, and I want to put a appliance store in here. And so I said, this crazy guy that went and rented this building and don't and don't know anything about appliance repair or anything. And now he wants me to try to show him how to start an appliance repair business. That's what's going through my mind. So I was like, okay. I said, repairing appliances and all that stuff. That's hard, especially if you're gonna start flipping appliances. And he was like, well, I don't necessarily want to do it, but if you would do it, and he said, if you come in here and do it, it won't cost you anything. It'd be free rent, and you get it up and running. Once we get it up and running, we can come in and decide if we want to keep going. We'll keep going. If not, we'll decide on the price and we'll buy you out. And I was like, well, who gonna give me this? Who gonna give you this for free? He said, it's our building. We got to put something in it. So we'll want to put an appliance repair business, and we'll partner up. You get it up and running. We'll split the actual profits and stuff from it. And then I think we had like a 2-year deal. In about 2 to 3 years, we'll go back and relook at it. So now I'm curious. I said, you own all of this? And he was like, yeah. So then he started telling me about the different businesses and stuff they had. And I was like, okay. So we get going, and I go there and I start building the store out. And so every Saturday, him and about 10 other guys will come actually to the actual store, and we'll go over the books and we'll discuss anything that's going on and whatnot. And so one Saturday, I just asked him. I said, "Yo, Abdul, what y'all doing?" He's like, "Well, on Saturdays, we go out and we go look at all our different projects we got going on." And I was like, "All right." I said, "Next Saturday, I'm gonna ride with you all out there." And he was like, "Okay." So next Saturday, I jump in and I'm riding with them, and we go all around the Research Triangle Park area where I live at Raleigh Durham area, and we
And
go
what year was
all.
this again? What year
Say
was
that
this?
again.
What year was this again?
This was about 2010, maybe
Okay.
2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So we go all across the triangle, and we go all day long, and we don't get to all their properties and all their different businesses. We were going out, and this was before Southeast Raleigh got gentrified. When they were just going to get gentrified, we'll get to Southeast Raleigh, and he'll tell me, he said, we own this right here, and he'll stick his arm out the window, and we'll drive 3 or 4 blocks, and they just pointing to all the stuff that they own. We were going to restaurants. Um, in the back of he had the back of this little minivan. He had soda, where the milk crates come in. He had milk. He had a milk crates. He had like 3 or 4 of those stacked in the back of his car, and he had all these different folders in there. And each one of those folders, he had his projects in there. He had the property when he first bought it, what he paid for it. He had the construction. He had what it was renting for. You could see it at everything about it. And he had 5 or 6 of these stacked up in the back of his truck, filled. Filled up. He had a food line garbage. He had a food line bag. The food line bag had nothing but keys in it for different buildings. Filled up, and he's just pulling keys out.
And how
property.
many of them were
Uh, it was it
investing?
was it was in that group. It was 10. It was about 10 families. Not say not it's 10 families, and
And were
it
they
was
all like first generation immigrants or
yeah. So this is what I found out in the backstory. Yes, they're a second immigration. They're their fathers, their parents that came here, and they are the next generation here.
okay.
But I found out later, as we got to be real good friends and stuff, they've been investing together for hundreds of years. They go all the way back to India, and
Yeah.
they even have arranged marriages. So, you know, these 10 families, they whatchamacallit, they have to actually marry within each other. So it ain't no
Mm,
and their kids and stuff. They decide what the kids gonna go major in. Wherever that family, wherever they need in that little pod, that's where they go do. And what happened? They do have different levels too, because they have the same family. They have another level that was up in Mooresville. That was a lot more advanced than them. I was like, man, they more advanced than y'all. So they had one in Mooresville. They had the next generation that was coming. They were just graduating from college, and I thought this was crazy too. They're at the time crazy far as good. The young men before they could go work at corporate America, they had to come together and actually start a business and get it up and running before they could go work in corporate America. And so they had four young men that had the building right beside us. We had the actual appliance store. Beside us was this. That's when they're doing these things like where these gaming rooms you can go there and you can play these games with cards, and they had the key things where you can escape. That's where they put one of those business together. Well, anyway, they weren't working hard enough, so they thought they should have been up and running. And I would hear them on Saturday going there, and they be just giving those guys hell. It sounded like the way we're giving our kids in basketball. That's the way they were going in on those guys. And I remember talking to one of them. He was really down. He didn't want to, he wanted to quit. He said he wanted to go to work and he didn't want to do this business. And I was telling him, I said, man, you just don't know how great you got it. That you got these guys putting y'all together a business, but they had to stay there, get it up and running. Once they got it up and running, then they could go out and go to work, but they had to keep the business going. And one of the guys was coming from East Carolina. One of them was coming from UNC Asheville. So they just brought them within that family. They brought them and set them down there in that environment. And one guy, he was coming from India, and they brought him over, and actually he was working for the Ron's wife. He was a CPA. She was a CPA for their businesses, but he actually had to come from India, and they paired all them together and forced them to work together and get that business up and running.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting because first of all, it's cultural definitely for them.
Mhm.
But second, I'm 46 now.
Mhm.
You look like you're a man of a
I'm
particular
49.
age as well. You're
Yeah.
49. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Um, I remembered my 21, 22, 23-year-old self and my parents having to pick me up by the pigtails and say, no, Cherie, you're not going to quit. I think that at that age, you if you don't have a structure around you to kind of, between I would say 16 and
Mhm.
like 24 to kind of really push you,
Mhm.
very few young people like that are self-motivated.
No, they're not.
It really does take, and I do think that that's something within the Black culture that we need to re-examine, which is, this multi-generational living that Kamari Ellis talks about frequently, and like really, not saying you're 18 years old, you're grown, go figure it out, but really kind of molding kids, because my understanding is brain development happens till you're 26 anyway.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know if somebody else disagrees in the chat, you can let me know, but I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head here. uh, One thing that I like about Mike's story, and I liked about hearing it on Kamari's channel, was the similarities that we have between our cultures, and then the differences, and what can we learn from this Indian group that we can bring to our community, because they're evidently doing something right that we're missing. Even if we can't do it on as big of a scale as they're doing it, the fact that they're bringing families together, and the fact that they have this culture amongst the families, and the fact that the young men had to get together and get a business started before going into corporate America. I think all of those things are like mindset things that they instill in their children, um,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was. Like I say, like I say, it was cultural, and like I had told Kamar, and I tell everybody, it was the first time I really, really felt defeated. When I saw that happen, it made me have to take a toll on myself because I thought I was doing fairly well. I had a little business, I was doing okay. But when I saw that, I said my kids and my grandkids won't be able to compete with these guys. And I said my friends have no idea that people are working this hard, grinding it out, buying up America and doing stuff. And here we are, we're not doing anything on
yeah.
Saturday, but going
And
out
once,
AAU.
yeah, once they're finished buying Africa and America, I said this to somebody last week, we may not be able to get it back.
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
not. Like I said, I had a meeting today with a group, and they're building these planned communities, and with these planned communities, they're starting to do now, kind of like with the railroads and what the old power companies and stuff used to do. They're controlling the infrastructure coming into these communities. So they're laying the fiber down, they're laying the water pipe down. They're doing
yeah,
all of this because the towns and cities are broke and they're paying for it. And now they're gonna now offer it to you. And now they got you're gonna be paying them for your internet service. You're gonna be paying them for your water, your sewer, and not only that, now they're putting these apps on people's phones. And so when you come in that community and you buy a house, now they also controlling who come in and fixes the repairs and stuff. So now you put an app and you say, okay, this is the person that we recommend. If you want to keep the warranty and stuff on your house and all that, you got to use this person. So now they're charging us to actually get onto that app to actually be recommended to these thousands of people that's coming in to the buying of these houses. So they're actually cutting you off more and more. If you're not in the
yeah,
process of developing and building something, you're gonna be in trouble in these next
yeah.
couple of years. And when
And I mean, a lot of it is relationships. A lot of it is relationships. And I will say, cross culturally, I, I'm fortunately able to navigate, and it seems like you are as well, amongst these different cultures, in order to see what they're doing, what we're not doing, and what can be done. And that is, I know y'all like hate me when I say this, but that is also why I'm like, okay, let's get out of the barbecue sauces and the t-shirt companies, and no offense to anybody that's doing that, but real business, like we can capture some of that market as well, even if it's not the internet, like fiber infrastructure. What are the ancillary services that they need that they would hire us for, and being able to capture some of that as well. So um, the other thing that I wanted to say, as you were talking, is that wealth whispers, right?
uh-huh.
You had mentioned the fact that you thought you were just coming over to this guy's house,
Hmm.
and yeah, you knew he had a little something, but
Hmm.
you didn't know he had all of this going on.
Right,
And sometimes we tend to be flashy, right?
right,
Or we
right,
tend to
right.
think that if a person is not flashy, then they don't have any money. which the one of the richest guys I know, like he could walk through Walmart and you would never know this
Hmm.
guy had a $50 million real estate portfolio,
Hmm.
you know, because he just doesn't wear it outwardly. You want to talk about that a little
Oh
bit?
yeah, yeah. That was. I say this all the time when I hear people talking about millionaires and how they look and stuff. I have yet to be with a millionaire and I've seen them with a suit and tie on. I have never seen that. Maybe they do it in corporate America, but all the millionaires that I know, like I said, I just left one. They building a whole community, and he just a regular golf like shirt and
Yeah.
just normal. And like I never seen that. And yeah, that's one of the things that when I see those things now it brings flags up to me. I don't think that they really have the money because I know
They don't. They
going
usually
going
don't.
yeah, going back to going back to
There'll be that
what
one person out of like 1,000 that does, but
I have yet when I was doing a lot of houses when we were renovating a lot of houses.
mhm.
All of the flippers, I remember the flippers coming there. They had the Escalades, they had the Lexus, they had all this nice
Mhm.
stuff. And like I asked my wife, I said, "What I'm doing wrong?" She was like, "They broke." I was like, "Nah, they got all this nice stuff." And how they doing all this? And sure enough, every one of those flippers wrote me bad checks.